Welcome, Corona Cafe. I am going to offer you a short practice designed to release tension from the neck, the traps, the shoulders today. I suspect I'm not the only person with coat hanger pain, where you get pain from the backs of the shoulders, tops of the shoulders, all the way up the neck and into the head. That can be a pretty common symptom for people with POTS or dysautonomia, and also if you spend a lot of time at a desk or reading or on your phone kind of hunched over. I think for many of us, long COVID has not helped our posture, which isn't helping how we feel through here. So I'm going to give you a few simple techniques you can use to help improve how you feel in that area. We do have one tool that we need today. So it's a ball. This one is called the High Bounce Pinky Ball. You do not need a high bounce pinky ball. I am not paid by a high bounce pinky ball, nor can I talk. I'm not paid by high bounce pinky ball. What you want is a ball about in the tennis ball to racquetball size range, and pretty firm. So this is about as hard as a racquetball. So it's harder than a tennis ball. A tennis ball will work. You just won't get quite as deep with the kind of self-massage tricks we're going to use. If you're into yoga, you might already have a yoga tune-ups ball. That's great, but they're like $25 for two. This is like $6 for two on Amazon, and it does the job. So you want a ball. We'll come back to that in a minute. For now, let's just go ahead and find a comfortable seated position. Cross-legged is fine, but sit how it works for you. Go ahead and take a big breath in. Breathe the arms up overhead. Exhale the hands down to prayer. I'm scooting back a little more. Inhale up again. Interlace the fingers. Press the arms up straight. Notice how the shoulders come up toward the ears here. Can you relax them down, away, creating space between the shoulders and the ears? Breathe in again. Exhale over to one side. Breathe in. Exhale over to the other. Breathe in. Come back up to center. Release the fingers. Drop the arms down. Let the shoulder blades squeeze together on the back. Imagine you want to squeeze a pencil and hold it between your shoulder blades. So we've got this W shape with the arms. The elbows drop down, squeezing in to bring the shoulders onto the back. Keep breathing. With your next inhale, let the arms rise back up. Shoulders are heavy. And then we'll just drop the hands down onto the knees. Inhale, press the heart forward. Exhale, round the spine. Pull the belly button in. Let the chin tuck. Inhale, forward. The gaze is up. Exhale, pull everything in, rounding like a cat. One more time. Inhale, forward and round. We'll come back up to a seated position. Now this next little sequence is for the neck. And we're gonna look silly. And you're lucky because you get to see me looking silly, but I don't have to see you looking silly. So I'm gonna just put my finger to my nose as a guide initially. That's not necessary. It's just kind of a guide to help us figure out where we're moving our head. So put your head in a neutral position. Your head's not jutting forward. It's not way back. It's just neutral. The chin is level or very slightly tucked. Take an inhale. On the exhale, pull the head back away from the fingers. So you're gonna see I get some extra chins here, right? My neck and chins all kind of blur together. Soften, bring the head back to neutral. Exhale, pull back and back to neutral. So again, the fingers here are to remind us we're not jutting our head forward when we come out. We're just coming back to neutral. Let's do that 10 times. Make as silly of a face as you like. And now I'll talk, and I can't do it and talk at the same time very well, so I'll let you keep going and I'll explain. What we're doing here is we're essentially creating a very gentle back bend for the neck. And so we're creating a compression and a releasing for the discs, and that's going to help the discs and the neck to get space and get fluid. And so any kind of disc compression issues, this can help to ease. It can also be a good exercise if you wake up with a crick in your neck. Also, just to make people laugh. When you've done about 10, just take a breath. Notice what it feels like to have your neck today. Notice where your shoulders are in space, and then we'll roll them up and down. Up, down, and back. One more time. Up, down, and back. Let the chin drop and lift. Drop and lift. Feel the neck lengthen, creating space. And then we'll take an inhale. On the exhale, drop the head over to one side. So my right ear is coming toward my right shoulder. Now the left shoulder for me is going to want to creep up, but I'm letting it be really heavy to create a stretch right here through the side of the neck. You can even take the opposite hand and just gently rub the side of the neck. Inviting the scalenes, the muscles here to release. Noticing where it might feel tight. When you're ready, inhale back up. Neck is long, and then we exhale over to the other side. Ear towards shoulder. One side might feel really different than the other. If you'd like, you can find this gentle massage again. Sending breath and a soothing touch to anywhere that's feeling tight. Come back up again. And now we're going to come down onto one side. Just get in a really comfortable side lying position. The head can be on the bottom arm, on a pillow. The knees can be bent. And we'll take the top arm out in front of us. It doesn't matter which side you start on. Point the finger like you're pointing at something. And we're going to inhale the arm up. Try to keep that finger on the floor the whole way. Now exhale, the arm is coming back behind us. You're not going to be able to keep that finger on the floor anymore. But the point is to keep it as close to the floor as we can. So we're really opening the front of this top shoulder, opening into the chest. Come back around, same thing. Inhaling the arm up. The finger drags on the ground. Exhaling back, noticing at some point that finger can't drag. That's okay. Just keep that hand as heavy as you can, opening right here. So this is the opposite of all of that hunching that we tend to do in a typical day. Continue to flow at your own pace with your breath. Just inhaling up and exhaling back and down. You might find that there's kind of like a sticky spot where the stretch is at the deepest. And if you find that spot and it feels like a good place to hang out, like mine would be right about here, it's okay to just pause and complete a full breath there. Just feeling what it's like to be in that opening space on your edge. I'm not forcing here. We're not trying to force our finger down to a place where it's not going to go. But we're trying to let gravity help us to open. So we'll take one more circle. And then we're going to switch sides. So you can just roll over. I'll sit up so that you still get my face, whether you like it or not. So same thing on the other side. Point that finger. Inhale up. Exhale over it. Again, you're going to probably notice that one side feels different than the other. All a part of having a human body. Inhaling up. Exhaling back and around. Move at a pace that's comfortable for you. Doing this about 5 times in total. And again, if at some point you want to pause in your sticky spot, where that opening feels big and hopefully feels good, right? We don't want to hang out in a spot that doesn't feel good. Then feel free to take a breath or two in that place. Hopefully your furniture is positioned better for this than that chair behind my head is. When you're ready to be done, we're gonna grab our ball. As a general rule, the smaller the ball is, the more intense this will feel. The harder the ball is, the more intense it will feel. If you have a bigger or softer ball, we're gonna have less intensity. One more caveat, for any kind of self-massage, particularly if you don't have experience with this, you don't want to jump in trying to massage something that feels actively injured or hurt. And certainly if you feel like you have any risk of a blood clot in an area of your body, you don't want to be massaging that. So this is for soreness, it's for tension, it's for tightness. It's not for that, for your back that you just threw out or whatever more acute issue. As always, listen to what feels good in your own body. So what we're going to try to do here is use this ball to locate some trigger points in our shoulders and to create a release. A general rule of thumb is when you find a tight knot in your fascia or your muscle, you want a good 90 seconds, maybe up to 2 minutes spent on that spot to help it release. You don't want to go more than 2 minutes though. You can overdo this and you'll feel sore if you do, and it's not the good sore. So what I would recommend if you're new to self-massage is don't even go 90 seconds on day one. Try 30 seconds, 60 seconds on spots that feel tight. See how you feel tomorrow, and then you can build from there, remembering that you don't ever need to spend more than 2 minutes at a spot, and it's not likely to help you if you do. So we're not doing anything crazy and fancy. We're using the weight of our body and this ball to create a release. I'm just going to roll up. I'm going to pick a spot under my shoulder. Now, I don't want it right under the bone. That's not going to do any good for me. So I know I tend to have a lot of tension in this area. I'm simply putting the ball there, and then I'm lying back on it. My knees are bent. Now, what I can do is I can just kind of relax, and already I'm like, oh, that feels kind of nice. I can feel something happening there. I can also lift a little weight out of my butt and shift that weight into my shoulder, onto this spot where the ball is. And then I start to feel a bigger release. Now, the other cool thing about lifting your butt a little is you can slide. You can say, oh, actually the spot's right here. And now the ball is in a different place underneath my shoulder. If I find a spot I really like, I relax the butt back down. I don't want to work too hard here. And I'm just going to breathe. You can close your eyes and just breathe. Imagining the muscle, the fascia around the ball just melting down. Sometimes you'll feel the muscle give. You'll feel this real shift. And you might even feel, ooh, the tight spot just moved up and to the left or down and to the right. And you can just move your body, move the ball to sort of chase that tight spot. Breathe wherever you are. Now, if something feels so intense that you're holding your breath, it's more than we want. And so another option, if this is too intense, is to do the same thing up against a wall. Just lean your back against the wall. Now, admittedly, that's going to feel more strenuous for the rest of your body because your legs are going to kind of be holding you in a chair-like position. So for my fellow long haulers, I think if this does work in terms of the intensity, it's going to be a much more soothing way to get this release. Move the ball around. Feel free to be curious, to explore, to say, okay, what happens if the ball goes lower? What happens if it comes higher? This can be a fun way to learn about your own body. Relax into whatever you find. Now, even without spending too long on any one spot, you could easily spend, 5-10 minutes exploring that shoulder because you move every 30 seconds and there are plenty of new places to explore. But I'm going to go ahead and move to the other shoulder, and obviously you can pause this video at any point if you just want to spend more time. So I'm just putting it under the other shoulder. I'm kind of rolling my body around to find where I want it. And then I'm focusing on completely relaxing into the support of the ball and the ground, letting my muscles just give way around that ball as if they're sort of softening into butter. One more caveat I want to make about playing with any kind of massage ball like this. In general, it's pretty safe to explore and to be curious, but one thing we do want to avoid is really pretty much anything with the neck. Once we get into the neck and the base of the skull, we've got some pretty important nerves and arteries that are also pretty sensitive. And so I don't ever put it under my neck. There are a few things you can do with the base of the skull that are safe, and I might show that to you in a future practice actually. If you do get the high bounce pinky ball in a 2-pack, you can tie them together in an old sock, and then there's some pretty cool craniosacral stuff that you can do with that feels really soothing, and maybe we'll try it in another video. So remember to keep that ball moving every 30 or 60 seconds for your first time, maybe having longer holds in the future. Notice what feels tight. Notice what feels soft. If it's too intense, a bigger ball, a softer ball, either of those can be helpful. Or again, standing up in kind of like a chair position against the wall with your back against the wall and the ball behind your shoulder between you and the wall. Another gentler way for the shoulder. Take a little more time here. Breathing, exploring, releasing. When I first started figuring out this self-massage stuff with a ball, it felt totally transformative for my body. I had so much tension in my traps and shoulders back then from yoga and climbing and like power yoga, right? I was a little silly about wanting everything to be hard back in the day. And so it felt really transformative. And so I hope that for some of you, you might have that same experience of, wow, I can get this tension out. Keep moving as needed. Keep breathing whether or not you think you need it. If you want more time, you can pause the video. I'm going to come out and I'm going to show you one more thing you can do to release tension through here with the ball. And I'm going to have to get up and move us to make that happen. So you can see my obscenely big TV that I did not purchase, but was left behind in this house, and I'm not complaining. Okay. Let's see. Put you right here. So you're going to need a corner of a wall for this. If you've got real slippery socks on or something, beware. You don't really want to go sliding here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ball right here in the trap, this kind of bulky muscle here that tends to hold all of our shrug tension. And I'm going to hold with the opposite hand against the wall just to make sure I don't fall if the ball were to roll. And then I'm just pressing the ball between my trap and the corner of the wall here. And I can keep it really gentle, just kind of gently rolling over that spot by moving my body up and down. Or I can really press in and get a bigger release. So as I move my body up and down or side to side a little, I'm kind of searching for the sweet spot in my trap where I want to release. When I find it, I'm holding pretty still, breathing, And I'm not going to stay there long because, again, you can pause the video and take a longer time. I'll show you one more thing you can do here. Sometimes our shoulder stuff is coming from the front of the shoulders. We can get pretty tight here in the pecs and just above the pecs. And so again, you can play around with the spot. Find a place for on the top of the chest, the pec, just under the bones there. Roll, pressing in gently. And then if you kind of find a sweet spot, you might press more. You can also play with looking up and away to get a stretch along the front of the neck here. Good idea to keep the hand here. I've done this many times and I've only actually had the ball roll out once, but I was really glad my hand was there. So those are just a few things to play with. While I'm on my feet, I'll show you too what I meant in case it was too intense on the floor. You can stand at the wall, the ball's behind my shoulder, I bend my knees, and I can move up and down and control how much pressure I'm putting back into the ball. If you have trouble being on your feet, this is obviously going to be harder. All right. I hope that this has helped you to release a little bit of the tension that might be building. Take a moment to breathe, feel the shoulders relax away from your ears. Feel the chin and the head pull back slightly. Feel the neck lengthen. And hopefully you can continue to find and recreate that feeling for yourself. Namaste.